Okay, so we're going to take a look at something new that I didn't get to talk to you guys about before, before we left, and that is about sex-linked genetic traits, which please let me explain what that is. These are traits that are on the X and Y chromosome, and they are called the sex chromosomes. That's why they're called sex-linked traits. That's the only reason why. These traits are more common in males than females because this trait is usually found on the X chromosome. Females have two X chromosomes, so they need both recessive alleles on both X chromosomes to show the recessive trait. Males have one X chromosome, so they only need one recessive allele to show that recessive trait. Okay, that's not something we're used to. You need two recessive alleles. That's still the same for females. For males, the rules are different because as you can see here, males have an X and a Y, and females have XX. Okay, so these are genes that are found on the X chromosome, more common in men because men only have one X chromosome. So maybe you know someone who is colorblind, and if you do, probably that person is a male because colorblindness is a sex-linked recessive trait. It's more common in males because they only need one recessive allele to show that trait. Can females be colorblind? Yes, they just need to inherit two of those recessive alleles instead of just one for males. This little cartoon here shows baldness. Guys, maybe you've heard your parents say, oh, well, or friends say, if you want to know whether you'll be bald or not, look at your mother's father. If he was bald, you probably are going to inherit baldness. So here we have a lady. She has one regular X allele, and then she has one X chromosome with a recessive allele on it. They should have, in this cartoon, made that a little b to remind you that's recessive, but they didn't. Sorry. I will do a better one on the next little part here. Okay, so she is a carrier for baldness, which means either her mother or father carried the baldness allele and passed it on to her. So she is not bald, the man is not bald. If we just line them up like a regular old Punnett Square, we have to use X and Y. You have to. You have to use X and Y. Here's the father, the male, XY, and here's the mother, XX, and we denote or show that she has the recessive baldness allele. She can pass that on to her daughter, and her daughter will not be bald because she didn't inherit a baldness allele from her dad. Okay, but this boy here would be bald. Oops, he would be bald because he inherited the baldness allele from his mother, and he only has one X chromosome, and the one that he has says be bald. Okay, that's how sex-linked traits work. So which chromosomes are we talking about? This clearly is not human because we've got 30 chromosomes. Or remember, we only have 23 pairs like this one. So what chromosomes are we talking about? Of course, not the ones with the useless red circle. They're these, the X chromosomes. So these have two X's. That's a female. And then whatever this species is, it has an X and Y chromosome, so that would be male. Those are the sex chromosomes. They're the ones that determine your sex, your gender, whether you'll be male or female. Okay, so those are the chromosomes. So it's not any gene or allele that's found on any other chromosome, just the ones that are found on X or Y. Can they be found on Y? Yes, but we're not going to talk about those. So how do you write one? You have to use X and Y. All the time I see people wanting to use A and B and whatever other letter, H. You can't. For these, you have to use X and Y. Why? Because the sex, the gender of whatever matters. Okay, it matters whether they're going to show the recessive trait or not. Usually we'll put the X with a little exponent at the top, like this A, capital A, or this lowercase a, that's the exponent. Where's the exponent on the Y? The Y chromosome is tiny, and it doesn't have this allele on it, so the Y gets nothing. So then you just, once you know what letters to use, you fill in the Punnett Square like normal. Everything else is normal. The only rule change is You have to use XX for the female and XY for the male. The other rule is that you only need to have one recessive to show if you're a male only. Here's a female. She's X big A, X little a. Whatever this trait is, maybe it's colorblindness. She doesn't have it because she has at least one dominant, just like regular. This boy over here, he's got X little a, Y. Y has nothing. Y kind of is like it's not there. So all he has is one recessive allele. So he has that recessive trait, which might be colorblindness. Okay, so that's the basic rules. So let's try to answer this question with my amazingly drawn square here. A daughter has hemophilia. It's a blood disease. It's a recessive sex-linked trait. So she has it. That's what they're telling us. She has it. So what letters would we use for her? Well, if she has it, girl, there we go. Then she must be, if she's a girl, she's XX. All right, and she has this recessive trait. So she has to have little h's. Okay, I know my amazing letters on here. We're using the mouse pad. Okay, so this is the girl. She has this genotype. She has hemophilia. That's her phenotype. What are the genotypes of her parents? So look right here. She has to inherit an X and a little h from her mother and father. Okay, pause the video. See if you could take a piece of paper and figure out what would go on the outside so you could have a girl on the inside of the boxes somewhere. That's two X's for the girl, and she has two little H's. So we know what's on the inside. We're trying to figure out what goes here on the outside. So pause the video, see if you can figure it out yourself. Did you pause the video? Actually pause the video and try it. Please really try it. Okay, either you pause the video or you're just not going to try it. I wish you would. So let's try to figure this out. So if she has to have a little h from both, okay, well, let's put the mom over here. She has to get a little h from her mom. So one of the letters from the mom has to be a little h. And what about the dad? Well, he's XY. The Y has nothing. Look at all our choices. The Y has nothing. But she has to get a little h from her dad. So this must be a little h. Those are the only things. But what about the other letter for the mom? Could she be X big H? Yes. Could she be X little h? Yes. So this one, it could either be a big H or a little h. Okay, let's look at our choices. Let's start right here. Nope. Dad has a big H. That can't be it. So we got to get rid of any ones where the dad has a big H. D and C have to go away. Okay, here the mom has two big H's. That's not going to work because she has to get a little h from her mom too. So the answer has to be A. Okay, she got a little h from her mom and a little h from her dad. So that has to be the answer. I'm also going to link to a video or two that also explains this in case it explains it better than I can. So please check those links and click on them if this didn't make sense to you while you're doing your work today. Or email me. We'll probably have a kind of a Google Meet sometime today or very soon, so that way you can ask any questions that you might have about this. So I hope that helped. I hope that you understand a little bit more about sex-linked traits. What are some examples? Colorblindness is hemophilia, a blood disease. If you have your computer, look it up. Baldness. All these are sex-linked recessive traits that are found on the X chromosome. So take it easy. I hope that helps when you're doing your work, and I will see you soon.